In terms of whether I'm more of a digital native or more digitally fluent than my students, if we look at and critique my personal learning environment, PLE, to reflect on my engagement with digital tools and platforms and explore whether I should be classed as a digital native or not, we will see. The Venn diagram, in response to the MA task of visually representing my PLE, allows for comparison between my professional context and my personal life. In terms of how I learn in my professional context, I notice that when I compare the learning environment at the top of the diagram, where I've outlined the tools used on the MA with the tools used in my teaching environment in school, there are no collaborative tools used in school. I do use Teams as part of my role as a mentor for trainee teachers with an external organisation, but only for video calls and file sharing. Whereas on the MA, I've learned using many collaborative tools such as Wiki, Padlet, Hypothesis, shared whiteboards for co-creating outputs during small group work. And these platforms enable and promote collaborative learning and construction of knowledge. The tools used in school are more about teaching content, knowledge input and retrieval practice, rather than promoting the deeper learning and higher order thinking, say, of Bloom's taxonomy, Anderson and Krathwohl 2001. On the personal interest side of my PLE, we see interest groups where I learn through dialogue, reading information shared by others and asking questions of peers. We also see more content creation, more production skills being used, for example, creating graphics on Canva or editing and sharing videos. It occurs to me that this difference around creativity and production, or lack of it, may be due to the fact that I have complete control over the content that I create for my hobby yoga business and my teaching methods. Whereas with my school teaching, there are many pressures, demands and restrictions in place, such as knowledge-based exams, and also a lot of resources already in existence to share with students. The status quo also seems to be for teachers to replicate traditional teaching online rather than to use technology to its full potential. Prensky 2011. Prensky 2011 also comments that schools are slow to change, so we need to take small steps, and I find this reassuring as it suggests change can come. However, in my free time, I can take big steps. I can create whatever I choose using the tools available. So it's not surprising that I'm more creative in this arena. Most social media and video conferencing tools fall both in my professional and personal environments. Note that video calls have only been used in my school since COVID lockdown. I reflect that many of my dialogue-based learning experiences have been online, and now I'm completing my postgraduate study online. In contrast to this, the majority of my dialogue-based learning in my teaching career has been face-to-face. This makes sense when the community is right there, at least the local teaching community. There are, however, benefits of online learning and hearing different worldviews, which I've experienced on the MA. Using my PLE as evidence, it's clear that I am digitally fluent in relation to digital skills reportedly needed in the workforce. Kispeter 2008, Kian et al. 2013, DFE 2018. It is also impossible to accurately compare my level of digital skills with those of my students without specific data and further research relating to the students. I imagine it would be a useful activity in future to invite my students to map out their PLEs in order to compare experiences. This would not only help them to reflect on the different ways they learn, but also provide data for comparison with my PLE and perhaps those of other teachers. Research shows that young people do not necessarily engage online or have basic digital skills or the skills thought to be essential for work, although they are likely to be competent in messaging and using apps on a phone. As such, we cannot generalise their levels of digital fluency. Resnick 2012, Kian et al. 2013, Boyd 2014, Greenlaw 2015, Children's Commissioner 2017. In addition to online learning and using digital platforms for my work and hobbies, I access government services and banking online and have searched and applied for jobs online. These are examples of digital platforms students may not have used, partly due to the fact that these are mostly adult pursuits, and partly as these fall outside the comfort zone of young people as aforementioned. It is clear that, quote, one's digital fluency varies significantly from one activity to another, and digital natives are not a homogeneous group. Grimley and Allen 2010, Hussain et al. 2010, Maliari et al. 2011. However, there are commonalities between digital natives in activities such as text messaging, instant messaging, and social networking. Carr et al. 2007, Bartonen et al. 2010. This may be due to the fact that social networking tools gained their popularity mainly over the past decade. It is also worth noting that resistance towards new technology is not universal among digital immigrants. The data shows that some of them also love new technology. Waycott et al. 2010, unquote, Kian et al. 2013, page 412. In terms of timeline, it's also likely that a high number of current teachers now grew up with mobile phones and social media. Whilst there is research into university students' engagement and experiences with technology, it seems more research is needed into secondary age students. From reading the Office for National Statistics report 2019, it is evident that I have a higher level of digital literacy than many adults in the UK. In terms of gaps in digital skills attainment, the Lifetime Learning in the Digital Age Summit report, Foresight 2017, states that people from the north of England, people from minority backgrounds, and people with lower socioeconomic backgrounds have lower levels of digital skills. So, as a black mixed heritage woman from a working class background who grew up on a council estate and now lives in the north of England, I could infer from this that my level of digital skills are higher than average for my demographic. However, my high level of digital fluency could be explained by my educational experience, Foresight 2017, and employment status, ONS 2019, because in fact, quote, socioeconomic status and educational levels are both positively correlated with internet use. 40% of individuals with no qualifications have used the internet, compared to 95% with higher education qualifications, unquote, Foresight 2017, page 9. In addition to being educated, I'm also curious about digital tools and platforms and motivated to use them through a desire to do things such as connect with teachers around the world, working on things that I care about, participate in peer learning networks around hobbies and interests, build my online yoga business, develop my knowledge and skills for future employment. My MA, Digital Education Studies, also motivate me to engage with different tools and platforms specified in the tasks. On the MA, I was motivated to learn how to use OneNote, as I started off using Google Sheets to keep my notes in. And although they were organised in a logical way, the Google Sheet was very hard to navigate and find information. After asking my peers on our course WhatsApp group, I decided to give OneNote a go, and I love it. It saved me so much time and energy and meant that I can easily find the notes that I'm looking for, as it supports clear and connected thinking, which the Google Sheets document did not. It is a much better fit for my purpose. Here I was motivated to move away from the negative Google Sheets experience. Lack of interest or motivation, or not seeing the benefits of technology, is one of the main reasons for people not engaging on the internet. Even more important than having digital skills, ONS 2019. Digital fluency is like learning any language. Motivation and a context to practice in are essential. According to Teacher Standards 4, DFE 2011, page 1, it is our duty to promote a love of learning and children's intellectual curiosity. because curiosity motivates the individual to find out more, and we must keep this in mind when planning digital teaching and learning activities. From the evidence on the subject of digital skills, digital literacy and digital fluency, I deduce that young people today are not necessarily growing up digitally fluent or even more fluent than adults. Therefore, I am likely to be more like the digital native that Prensky first described than some of my students, or fluent in different areas of the digital world to them.